off my, I have to put my do not disturb on. How's everybody doing today? Happy Easter Sunday for those who celebrate Easter. It's been a pretty crazy weekend. I'm sorry if I've cut the roof of my mouth, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. We went to, let me pop out the chat, and I'll talk for a minute until everybody gets in here. And then I can, if you want me to shout you out and say hello, then please say hello to me first. Why? Because that puts you in the participants list, and then I can shout it out. So today is April 9th, 2023. And I got to tell you, we went to visit Steph and Scott yesterday. They're, remember Let's Homestead Instead? And they have come a long way from the folks who started with chickens. And then they bought a farm. And now she breeds registered goats, registered dogs. They have 68 acres. They have geese and chickens and goats and sheep and a dairy cow. And we had a wonderful visit. You'll see it all in a video on our half-acre homestead tomorrow. But I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. It would have been what we would have liked to have been able to do if we had started younger with more land, right? I mean, they're, I bet you 2 years away from being almost completely self-sufficient, right? It's just awesome. So let me pop out the participants and say, hello, aloha seashell, Claire Quinn, hi darling, Erin MH, Kathy Pinkstaff, Lacey Black, Samoa, Linda Bopp, Linda Willardson, Michelle Maria, Mamakins, Pam PS, hi Pammy, hi Sherry, Ninja Clan Kathy, and Valerie Hancock Gallon. All right, let's go back over to the chat and pop it out and make it live. So it's been a really busy weekend. You're going to get some video. Remember I said I'm slowing down on our half-acre homestead because I was really tired, okay? January, February, March, I dragged my butt through that winter. I have dragged my butt through that winter. And now, and so I was at the point where, you know, if you get 3 videos, you're always going to hopefully get a minimum of 3 to 4 videos a week until things pick up, which they're picking up. Howie's boiling sap today. We're boiling sap next weekend and making syrup. So that's going to be a video. I had 2 heads of cabbage, one purple one and one great big huge green one. So I'm dehydrating cabbage, and I've made 2 cabbage meals. Those are all going to be videos. Jolie, hi. Valerie Hancock, Galen. Did I say it wrong? I almost pulled that complete homesteading years back. I tell you. It was such a joy to be there, and their power the last time I checked was still out. Their power's been out since the ice storm on Wednesday. But it just didn't stop them. They have a generator, right? Because they have animals, but they also have a beautiful wood burning cook stove in their kitchen. And we just had this most wonderful visit yesterday. Oh, and I came home with some raw milk, which I'm actually thinking of making myself some can of milk and then freezing it or something. We'll see. Hey, hi, Roxanne Tracy. How's it going? Happy Easter to all. With Sally is Jolie. I'll try and remember that, sweetheart. So... Oh, do you want to see my plants? Oh, do you hear them? You'll see the babies tomorrow. Okay? You'll see. Okay, you can see them now. Shh. but it's in tomorrow's video. Hang on a second. They're all very quiet right now. Okay. There you can see the two grayish black ones are barred rocks, and the two black ones are black Sussex, and the 6 white ones. I put their food in a bowl, and they just dumped it anyway, so I've cleaned their paper today, and I put their bowl upside down and put their water on it, and I just throw their food on the floor, and they just scratch for it. Hello, buddy. Hi. You looking at me? So these are not staying in my office. Oh, sorry, guys. These are not staying. They don't need the heat from these lights. These lights, I turn them right down to the night mode and dim them right down at nighttime. These guys aren't staying in my office. They're going to, it's still cold right now, but next week, like I have to change the paper every day, but next week, this box, it'll be warm enough for this box to go out the porch, and they will have enough feathers. So let's go and show you the garden. You want to see something pretty? Who wants to see something pretty? No, it's not me. Look at it. Look. My marigolds are blooming. And there's my zinnias. Look. These are the pepper plants I started first. And these are the ones I started a week later. But look at them. My hollyhocks. Look at my cabbages, guys. More marigolds over there. That's cilantro, cumin, rosemary, medicine, celery. Look at these tomatoes. Look at these. They're soon going to have to be repotted and then buried again. And look at my Spanish onions and my basil. I keep just giving it a haircut. There's parsley and my leeks. Isn't that gorgeous? Space Station! Space Station Wolfie. We are also going to be doing another video while we're boiling sap next weekend on the solar panels and charging this and like running a kettle maybe, and charging our phones and stuff outside while we boil sap. I gotta put this over so you don't get seasick when I walk. Now I can see the chat again. Ow! Ow, my ankle! Oh, I just scraped the back of my heel on the leg of the chair. Okay, here we go. Well, no, thing is I have a really short growing season. My planting starts in May long weekend, and then by Thanksgiving, the only thing left is usually the root vegetables in the ground. And Thanksgiving here in Canada is the second Monday in October. So the gardens, you know, we could have snow by Halloween. But so I make sure I give my plants the absolute, you know, I could start them now. What's this, April? Yeah, I could start them now or 2 weeks ago and have them ready to go in the garden, but they'd be still small. I want these to be the size of nursery plants. And in order for mine to be the size of nursery plants, they have to get started earlier and given more of a chance to grow. Hey, Joe, how's it going, sweetheart? Hey, Dima Beth. So, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, Lacy Black. It's just because I want nursery size plants by the time I plant. And I've learned the hard way that I have to start them earlier and baby them and transplant them and muck about with them for like a month and a half before they're ready to go in the garden. So instead of 8 weeks, I go all of February, all of March, all of April. So that's 12 weeks right there. So I start mine at least 12 weeks early, 12 to 16 weeks before planting. I start mine. But that's just because I have such a short growing season. Excuse me. It's been, ow, 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 ow. This thumb, I can now touch this finger. Anybody, like I just barely touched my baby finger. This thumb is getting better, but it's really painful. That's why my garden produces so well, because I really give them the best start I can. And I'll tell you what, this year seemed, other than my celery being lackluster, this year my starts are beautiful. They're just boom, right? Hey, bird lover, how are you? I think my problem is watering the plants. I will continue with working it. I will get it. You will. I see. I learn something new every year. This year, I learned, and I probably learned it before and forgot, but I learned that I don't transplant anything into peat pots. Why? Because the peat pots absorb most of the moisture, and then, you know, every time you water the soil, the peat pots get wet, but the soil goes dry. Oh, and you got to see my flowers and my plants in my windows here. Look at them. Aren't they doing great? They have the one, they have the broken plant plate. So, yeah, so they're all doing really well. What I'm going to do is next is I'm going to be taking those tomato plants. I'm going to take, okay, say this is the cup, okay, that the tomato plant's in. And it's all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to take that out, cut the bottom half off the soil and the roots in the bottom, drop that down into the cup, and then break up the soil that I cut off the bottom and put it on the top, add more soil and water them. And then I'll bury them back up to the first leaf. And they will go, they'll be like Hulk. They'll Hulk out, right? Every time you transplant them and that's another reason I have to start early, because I do a lot of transplanting over and over again to make things bigger. Like my leeks, like my peppers, like my, next year, I'm just going to put my celery right into one of them big flat trays. Hey, Tina, that's okay. You'll be able to watch it after. I was trying to grow tomatillos, but only one has survived. Oh, no. Well, I didn't think my peppers were doing well, so I did want some of those rainbow peppers. I don't know. I don't think I have the package anymore, but they're multicolored peppers. They're white and purple and yellow and orange, and so I wanted some of them too. I have no idea where I'm going to put all of this stuff. I'm only putting in one bed of celery, so Steffi from Let's Homestead Instead will probably get the other half of my flat of celery for her garden. Hey, Donna, we missed you on Friday night, honey. So, and now I'm looking now, right? I have the 2 beds in front of the pool, the 2 beds in front of the veranda, one I usually put herbs in. And then I counted, and I got 3 beds open over here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I can, I will put 3 tomato plants in each bed. 3. And that will be my entire set of plants, because I got like 21 or 22 plants. So I'm moving my herb bed to the back. Where we used to grow the walking onions. I'm going to get Howie to turn that over. And then I'm going to plant all my herbs out there and make that a perennial garden. My celery stump did not turn out. It rotted. Well, did you sprout the roots first and then plant it? Did you score the bottom or trim off the bottom? Oh, Donna, that's wonderful. Hey, Black Rock, how's it going? Tomatillos will grow next year if you plant them in the same space. When the fruit drops to the ground, it will come back next year. Oh, well, there you go. Oh, I'm drinking tea with real milk. I am vacuum sealing home jarred cornbread mix. Oh, there's a good idea because we can't get Jiffy cornbread mix here, and I'm sealing brownie mixes as well. Well, there you go. That makes sense. So, hang on a second. I gotta fix my chair. Oh. Well, honey, you mean when you start them, bird lover? This is what you do. Like, have you got to, before I tell you what to do, have you got, bird lover, have you got tomatoes that are too leggy? All right, here's what you do. Dig them up, okay? I'm gonna go get a tomato to show you what I'm talking about. And all my tomatoes are the same breed this year so that I can save the seeds. These are all Manitoba tomatoes. Now, when these guys were in, I started them in a thing, just in a tray. And then I dug them up and I planted them into peat pots. And they weren't doing well in the peat pots. So what I did is I took them out of the peat pots. Now you see where, I'm going to rip that sucker off. Pinch him off. You see where these branches start? Take what Mamakins, leggy tomatoes means they're really tall and skinny because A, they're reaching for light, and B, they don't necessarily have enough soil. Right? My lights are no higher than that high above my plants, right? 6 to 12, well, 12 inches because they can get hot. All right, so what you do is what I'm going to do next. I bet you I can do it right here and show you what I'm talking about. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to get a piece of paper here, a pair of scissors. I'll be right back. We'll do a little bit of tomato botany lesson here. It's taken me years to learn how to grow tomatoes, okay, from seed. Now, I hope I don't kill this thing, but here is my tomato. Now, watch. See if I can get you down here enough so that you can see what I'm doing. So, I'm going to loosen this because it's not really wet. Now see this? Now watch. You see what I just did? Now, down, down, in. In. And now, I'm going to cut this up. Break up that my thumb isn't working really well. Because all of the hairs on this trunk will turn into roots. So we push this down inside and then we rebury it all the way to the bottom leaves. You don't even need fresh soil. So this is what I will be doing. This one's going to go apeshit because I've done it like a week early. Okay. Lots and lots of water. Tamp that down. There you go, baby. right up to those leaves. This will go down because there's water floating the stuff on the top. All right? And then this starts to grow up again, but your trunk is thicker and more sturdy. And make sure your plants have have the very minimum, okay? 12 inches below the light, okay? All right. I'll be right back. Now that's the third time that tomato plant has been, it started out in a packet with seeds, like in a tub with soil. And then I transplanted them into peat pots and they didn't do great. And then I transplanted them into the cups. Now it's just reusing the same space, but dropping them down. Lots of water so that those hairs, oh my goodness, got a mess going on here. Lots of water so those hairs will turn into roots. Okay, what did I miss? Yes, the babies are getting noisy. Well, they're starting to, I changed their light, eh? Because it's a plant light, I change it to different times of the day so that they'll get used to, daylight, and then afternoon light, and then evening light, and then I dim it all the way down so it's just barely purple, like black light almost. Hi, Leanne. Happy Easter. Too much chocolate? You're welcome, bird lover. I know this isn't our half-acre homestead, but if I can't answer questions, I had it right there, so it just works. So that's what you do. But you make sure when you transplant it, and you cut the bottom off and you put it down, that you keep the soil moist for 2 days, at least. Not soaking wet, but moist enough so that those hairs on the stem will swell into roots. You're welcome. Hi, Kingdom Artist. How are you? So there was your tomato plant lesson for the day. Linda Bob, somebody was saying that I should declare them as a service animal. The truth is, now I'm going to tell you a little story. We started raising with laying hens a long, long time ago. 30 years ago, we got our first laying hens. No, probably 31 years ago, because Briar was an infant. He wasn't a year old yet. So, then once I felt comfortable with that, I started raising meat birds and turkeys. And there was a while we couldn't do it before we moved to Quebec. And there was a while once we moved to Quebec, we couldn't do it. But now we started back once we got up here. When we moved up here to our little county here. And for the years in between, I would have nightmares. That I forgot to feed my chickens and I forgot to collect the eggs, and I'd go out and they would all be emaciated and dying, and there'd be crushed eggs everywhere and babies in different ages because I'd forgotten to look after them. Those are legitimate nightmares. And I've had those ever since I started raising chickens. But I've had laying hens in the last 5 years, so it hasn't been an issue. But you listen to that beep, 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 beep. They're going to get nasty and noisy soon enough. But I find it very, very soothing. Like when I'm not working or on, yeah, my hands are dirty from doing the plants. It's honest dirt. And I'll go and look. Like even Gracie will watch them. And it's like, she knows you don't touch. Those are living things. Like how he said they're babies. I said, don't call them babies. And he said, why? I said, because of her baby. The duck she gutted. The stuffed duck she gutted. Don't call them babies. Just say no, not for Gracie, right? So I got 10. I got 6 broilers. And is that you, Hal? Yeah. Oh, did you get the sap strained? I strained it off and I've got it on real low heat. Mike just finish it off right there. Oh, well, good. Here, come and get these, will you, while I'm thinking of it, because I'll forget later. Oh, okay, baby. All right. Good job, honey. Do you want the camera? Never mind. When you're done there, if I'm still out, you might want to come out. Okay, I will come out when I'm done. I love spending time with my husband other than in front of the TV. So, yeah, I'm really excited. And we're going to figure out a way of overwintering 2 laying hens. Now, this is the funny part, okay, is once we left Steph and Scott's place, Howie remembered what it was like to raise our own stuff. And I have this plan. Thank you. Well, he wants me to go outside again, and I will when we're done here. I have a cabinet in my porch. It is an entertainment center with a glass door and shelves and a roll top thing to hold a TV, but nobody has those size of TVs anymore. But I couldn't resist it. It was like brand new and it was $20. So I've been storing my dehydrator in it out in the porch. Oh no, God, have you seen the insulation on my legs? But thank you, Sherry. Don't worry about it. Hey, Cal. Happy Easter. So I'm going to, I thought about this. I thought, what if I could keep 2 laying hens in the porch in a suspended dog cage or something like that with a nesting box? So I got thinking. And I looked at this cabinet, and one side's a door and it has shelves and a drawer in the bottom, and the other side is bigger and it has a roll top and then shelves and drawers in the bottom. And I'm looking at that and I said to Howie, I think I actually drew a picture. Okay, yes I did. So here is, and you're probably seeing this backwards, so I'll do it upside down. Here is my cabinet, this cabinet that's out in my porch with the freezers. It has a glass door and shelves in here. And here's the roll top, and then there's shelves below, and there's a wooden wall between. So I said to Howie, take out this shelf, leave this shelf, cut that shelf in half and put it across here, and cut out the wall, like secure this box up here, cut a hole in it, put a ramp down from the hole, take the glass out of the door, put chicken wire in, and take out the floor and everything here. Like just gut this part here. This L-shaped part here is going to be all gutted. The door is going to have chicken wire on it, and then we'll just make a lighter frame door with a couple of hinges and frame and chicken wire, and then they can be opened this way, right? So here is what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's probably backwards. So, but here's the net. So this would be the nesting box, and it just has a board across here to keep the straw in it, the bedding material in it. And there's a hole here, right, for them to go in and out. They'll have a roost across here, and their ramp will come down this way. This is upside down, but the ramp will come down, and this hole underneath, okay, they'll have a nesting box, and this hole underneath, we're going to put a piece of vinyl flooring on the bottom, and then we're going to, actually, I have something that'll work even better, but we're going to put a piece of sticky plastic on the bottom and then keep newspaper in it so that every day I can just go out and open these two doors this way, roll up the newspaper, put it in the compost or in the fireplace, and then and then close these doors, open this one and reach in here and take the eggs. So they've got 2 feet by 4 feet to walk around and do things. And in the wind, and because it's winter, I can put a dishpan in there and put sifted ashes in for them to dust themselves. But fit comfortable. Do you think 3 chickens in that desk thingy? Well, Howie says 3. I said 2. I said, and he goes, well, what if one doesn't lay? I said, they'll eventually lay, Howie. They'll be laying by the end of October, right? So we're going to put these all out in the greenhouse, in the enclosure that Howie's going to build in the greenhouse that we're going to keep as a chicken enclosure. And it's a dirt floor. So we're going to raise them out there. The big white birds will probably be butchered at the end of July, and then 2 of the others probably closer to October, July, August, September. And then the 2 likeliest of those I'm going to bring in, and I'm going to have a coop right in my porch. Hey, Grandma Sue, how's it going? I kept our rabbit in a mahogany unit that I attacked with a jigsaw and put chicken wire and a whole... Exactly. We repurposed our TV cabinet, adding extra shelves in the TV cabinet to hold all our countertop appliances and larger baking dishes. Well, see, I've got a pantry for that, right? The only reason I was keeping my 1 dehydrator out there is because that's where I dehydrate. And I can sit them right up on top, right? Ow. Oh, I've overworked my hands this weekend. Really overworked my hands this weekend. Excuse me, folks. So Howie, the man who didn't want any chickens at all until our township said, oh, no, you have to have 5 acres to have chickens. And Howie just kind of flipped the bird and said, oh, yeah? Order your chickens, Bev. Right? Yeah, I'd rather, ask for forgiveness than beg for permission. That's our fibro Bev. I don't know. No, this is rheumatoid arthritis. I have rheumatoid arthritis in here. It started in the bases of my thumbs when Briar was a baby. But so Howie's like, oh, no, we can do 3. I said, look, I'm looking after them. 2 chickens. We're not getting 3 chickens because in the height of their laying, which will be over this winter because they'll have just started in October, right? Over the winter, they're going to be laying an egg a day because I plan on putting a little light in there because my porch stays cold, but it doesn't get below freezing, right? So the porch or the cabinet will have a light in it that I will put on, or even one of these plant light things. And it'll be on a timer. Just turn it on. It'll come on at, 5 o'clock in the morning, it'll come on. And it'll go off at 7 o'clock at night. And that will be them all winter. And we'll get 2 eggs, an egg to 2 eggs a day. Now think about that. That's 10 to 14 eggs a week. We don't need more than 2, right? That they wouldn't allow it when he's on board completely. But now he's like, he says, we could put a pig pen up on the parkland over there, right? But he's also talking about putting a garage there, right? We're too old to do too much anymore. We couldn't just get 100 acres and unless it was turnkey operation. It was a turnkey farm operation, hobby farm operation. If we just bought it already outfitted and everything, we could probably do it. But we're too old to go any farther than we already have. Every house on my hill in Deerfield have chickens. We only pay $7 for a dozen eggs. Well, there you go. Won't pay $7 for a dozen eggs. That's right. So you should have just, yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. I'm not raising chickens for other people. I'm not raising them. I'm raising, 8 birds for the freezer. And 2, I'm going to overwinter as laying hens. And they will go out. I'll keep them as laying hens until next year's chicks are raised, and then I will butcher my 2 hens as I'll just replace them every year. Like I could keep them, but they'll live the first half of their life outside, well, out in the greenhouse, scratching in the dirt and all that stuff. And then they'll have a nice warm house in the porch for the winter. And then next fall, they'll get butchered with, I'll raise 10 more birds. And I'll butcher those 2 laying hens with the meat birds next year. And then I'll keep the 2 best for laying hens for overwinter again, and I'll just recycle it. My grandmother always said that if somebody told her she could not do something, she would do it just to spite them. Well, that's my husband, eh? They're trying to dust themselves. You can hear them go. I may give them a little pan of sifted ashes because they're, if they're itchy, they want to dust, right? And that's something, once a week, before I clean my little coop in the porch, I'll take a pan out of sifted ashes and put it in the bottom, and they'll dust themselves. They'll make a hell of a mess. Right? All I have to do is hang a curtain over it and to keep the dust down. But they'll dust themselves in the wood ash, and then I just replace the paper, throw it in the wood stove, give them fresh paper, and they're good for the day. I'm already doing that with these guys. I know, it's just babies. I know. Yeah, butcher them myself. Honey, you may not be familiar with my other channel, Our Half Acre Homestead. For like 10 years, Howie and we've gardened, raised chickens, turkeys, geese, ducks, goats, pigs. Hell, we had a steer the first year. The second year we were here. I see, that's a thing too, is... Hi, my love. I love that man. And what I'm doing is like I was like, oh yeah, throw them scraps from the garden. Well, your garden's got to be growing to throw them scraps. So I've been saving any supper scraps, except chicken, but I've been saving any supper scraps and heels of homemade bread and vegetable peels and all that stuff. And I put them in baggies, and I have a big red shopping bag in one of my freezers. And that big red shopping bag is chickens only. And every time I have leftovers or something, I put them in a bag and I throw them in like an old bread bag, and I throw them in that. And when they're out in the pen and they're eating regular food, right? Every day, I'm going to take a scoop of scratch grain. I'm not going to grower or anything. I'm going to buy grain. I'm going to get a scoop of scratch grain. And the night before, I'm going to take a bag out of the freezer and thaw it in the fridge, dump it in my Ninja blender, chop it, mix it with the grain, and give that to the birds. So they're going to be getting scraps and grain, period, full stop. See, the only reason you don't feed, they need a certain amount of protein, right? Chicken poop has to age before it goes in the garden. So if I want to, I can roll up the newspaper. Like these ones, this is going out into the compost. Well, Howie actually burnt it because he's boiling sap. But I can roll up the newspaper throughout the winter, roll it up from the bottom of the coop, stick it in a box or a bin. I have a compost bin somewhere on my deck. And then in the spring, it goes into the, when we get our garden soil and top up the beds, we'll dump all that paper and chicken stuff in a pile over by the ravine, and we'll just put soil over it and we'll let that compost until next year. You are so smart, Miss Bev. You should have a big farm. You could sell the meat. Well, it's not as easy to do here in Quebec. You know, the meat has to be frozen, blah, blah, blah. And there is a farm down the road that does that. But I don't pay $10 a pound for hamburger, right? I get mine from another farmer in Ottawa. And I paid $5 a pound cut and wrapped. But, what was I going to say? This isn't smart, sweetheart. This is trial and error and a lifetime of study. Study, practice, study, practice, study, practice. And it is too much work at our age. Unless I won the Mega Millions. Now, listen to me, folks. If I won the Lotto Max, like $50 million, there's a couple of things we'd do. One, we would pay, of course, wipe all our debts. But the first thing on the agenda, rather than like I'm gonna put my 10% into charities, the charities of my choice, which is usually the Salvation Army and St. Vincent de Paul. And then I would buy a farm, an organic farm, and I mean a big one. And I would hire people who wanted to live on the farm. They would have housing, and they could live there, and they would take wages. They would pay rent, but they would work there on the farm so that the farm would be working on its own while we traveled. And Howie wants a yacht. Howie wants a yacht that we could we would use it like a couple of weeks a year or something, a few weeks, a month a year. And then we would hire a crew to charters on the yachts. Hey, O'Donnell boy, the pipes are calling. So that's what I would do is we would buy we would have a custom built motor coach for traveling. And so we would build a farm that would be self-sustainable and it would be self-reliant in the fact that it has a fully housed staff on the land. And then we would buy a yacht that we could enjoy a few weeks out of the year, and then the rest of the year hire a crew to go out on take people out on charters. You get a captain, a chef, a crew, and they, you know what I mean? You've seen that Below Decks series. And then who's leaving? Food no longer exists, country of origin. Yeah, I know. And then we would build a custom built motor home so that we could go to Florida or, Nevada or, you know what I mean, for the winter, Arizona, all those places, right? And in the summer we would come home and we would come home occasionally, check on the farm, but for the summer we would come home and live on the farm. And of course, Howie would have a fully functioning shop with all the toys where he could tinker with race cars. And that motor coach will be pulling a race car. And it would actually probably be pulling a trailer with a race car and an elevator with a Hyundai Accent or smart car and golf cart in the top. Right? Everything except the racing, everything would be paying for itself. The yacht would pay for itself. Right? The farm would pay for itself. And then the rest would get invested for what would be left? What would be left by the time I had a fully run farming? Because, and I'm not talking, the farm itself would have to make money, right? That's what I mean. So I would have a herd of dairy goats, a small herd of dairy goats, a small herd of dairy cows. a bull for breeding the cows, and any males we would fatten up and we would steer them and fatten them up and butcher them for meat. Memshos with the goats, the male goats. And we would have a full, acres of wheat, barley, oats with Canada peas, oats, right? All of that stuff would be for our own grain and animal feed. I would have a field of carrots, a field of turnips, all of the root vegetables. I would have fields of this stuff. So the farm would have to be close to 1,000 acres, right? And everything would be done organically. So we would grow our feed corn. We would grow wheat, barley, oats, carrots, turnips. I would probably model my farm after. Has anybody ever read Farmer Boy and the Little House on the Prairie books? I would probably model my farm over Almanzo's father's farm, where they grew everything they even had their own wool for sheep, which I wouldn't go, but I would like to try hemp too for fabric. Okay, so that's what I would have. I would have, pigs, dairy, beef, goats, chickens, and turkeys. Chickens for eggs, chickens for meat, turkeys for meat. We would grow all of their own feed, plus we would have a market stand for stuff as it's coming in, and then I would have a processing room. I would have a processing room, not necessarily in my house. I would have a harvest, like a hall, where with the big, when you go to the Legion or whatever, and people are, they rent the hall, and you go in, they got these great big stainless steel deep sinks. We'd be making our own cheese, everything. And I would just set that up so that it runs. I would have a manager, overseer, and everybody who wanted to could live on the property in a bungalow, have a yard, grow your own garden if you want, but why would you when you can get it at cost on the farm that you work at, right? We'd have a whole community, and it would be running itself. Isn't that fantastic? But so after that farm, that I've got my, milking machines in place and grain mills in place and all of this stuff, that would probably cost me close to $10 to $15 million to have that start to finish in operation, to get it up to operation. And then the yacht, the insurance, the crew, all of that stuff would probably cost another $5, right? But you see, the crew and that are going to get paid out of the people that charter it, right? That would be, so we're up to $20 million, right? I've got 10%, so which $5 million. Yeah, 10% is going straight to charity across North America, wherever the charity I see needs. Like maybe I'll start a food bank or something, right? I don't know. But that's going to 10% of that will go to charity, and that's all they allow you to give to charity, right? And then, so what are we at? $25 million. I got $25 million left. So how he builds a shop and plays with race cars, and that there's another $5 million. So we're up to $30 million, right? We take $5 million and split that between our kids, right? In a way so that they can have a monthly income set up for them that they can live on for the rest of their lives. So what am I up to now? I got $15 million left. Boom! Invest! Live off the interest for the rest of my life. But even so, right? If you're smart, I just need money, bird lover. I just need money to make it happen. I need the heavens to open up and drop $50 million on me so I can show the world that you can farm sustainably, so that you can farm organically, so that you can have a life and support your community also with that life, with the fresh milk, right? With the fresh milk, with the goat's milk, with the vegetables when they come into season, with beef and eggs and turkeys at the seasonal times. All of these things, help not just the people that are employed in our community, but those people who don't want to shop at grocery stores anymore. No taxes winnings in Canada. Yeah, but that's why you got to, if we won $50 million, we would get on a plane and go into hiding first. We would get on a plane and go into hiding first. And then we would call a financial investor. Howie happens to have a cousin who's a really smart investor. He actually works for Investors Group. So he'd be the first person we call and say, okay, come on, Pinhead, let's do this. You know what I mean? Ham, corn on the cob, sweet potatoes, and spice cake with cinnamon icing. We're having lazy man cabbage rolls because I've been working all weekend. Well, except for yesterday. Yesterday, we went to the opening breakfast for our Luskville Dragway. And there's going to be more of that on Life with the Wolfies this year. There's going to be a lot more. I'm hoping to be able to find some money to buy new cameras and stuff and batteries for my scooter so that I can go and scoot around and do the filming at the pit and filming, from the side and filming. So, hey, Sheila Clarkin, how are you, darling? Top of the barn. Well, no, for you, it's about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night for you, isn't it? I'm off topic, but I'm on the canal and can hear an owl in the background. Oh, isn't that lovely? Hey, Willow, how are you, darling? Now you're in Australia or you're New Zealand, aren't you? No, you're in Australia. We're having lazy man cabbage rolls and chocolate bars because we still got chocolate bars left from the care package that Rebecca sent. Just hitting 10. Yeah, we're just hitting 5. I knew you were like 5 hours off from us. So, I mean, it's all nice to have dreams. You got to have dreams, right? Tasmania, Australia. Thank you. I have family in New South Wales. Actually, my dad wanted to move us to Australia before I was born. And my mom wouldn't leave her family during lunchtime. Awesome. So I've been dehydrating cabbage. We've had fried cabbage and noodles for supper the other day. That's a video coming Tuesday, I think. And we're boiling sap. That's actually going to be a video in the next 2 weeks because I'm showing you the process of boiling it. We're going to show you the taps and the buckets and all that stuff. Not drilling the trees because Howie was so busy hipping it through snow. When I say hipping it, the snow was hip deep to put the buckets on the trees. He couldn't have handled a camera at the time. Hey, Pam, happy Easter to you too. So, Sharon, you outdid me. Sharon, who? Where do you, I'm missing something here. So anyway, you got to have dreams, right? I mean, I could still run a farm if I had enough money to get it in operation and have people work on it because, but darn well that I'd have a bookkeeper, but me, I'd be going over the books myself, right? So making tacos with home canned pintos, canned beef, shredded up, and green chilies. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. She said all the food she ate. Yeah. What have I eaten today? I forgot to eat today. It doesn't matter. We're gonna have lazy man cabbage rolls. I made fried cabbage and noodles on Friday. And I have dehydrated the London Sunshine dehydrator did the purple cabbage, and now I have it full and 4 trays in the porch dehydrating the rest of the green cabbage, and we've gotten 2 meals out of it. So I've heard from London Sunshine, and there's going to be some more previews coming. Now, I did ask them if they would give away whatever they're asking me to preview. I don't know if they're going to give away one the first time, but we are definitely going to be talking about, not just a preview, but hopefully a giveaway. So my whole family brought dishes. I just did the ham, fruit salad, and coconut cake. Oh my God, Sharon. Oh, hi, Sharon. So I knew 2 kids from Orangeville, Ontario, won 19 million, went nuts buying mansions, throwing rock parties, doing coke, lost it all in 3 years. Well, that's the whole point, right, Danny? You don't. I'm 59 years old, right? Howie'll give his 2 weeks notice and he'll actually work it out. That's the kind of people we are, right? Yes. We'll probably go to Las Vegas. I miss Las Vegas, but there's a cap on shit like that. Before we go to Las Vegas, we will sit down with a financial advisor, map everything out that we want to do, put ourselves on an allowance because this money's going to go there, this money's going to go there, this money's going to set up that, this money's going to buy that, this money, this money, this money. This is what's left. Put it in the bank in a high interest savings account and live off the interest. Right? Yes, we'll buy, we'll be buying a lot of stuff. But the truth is, most of it is going to be stuff that will pay for itself in the long run. Since it's just the 2 of us, I'm going to fix a small canned ham, sweet potatoes, scallop potatoes, and home canned green beans. There you go. We're just not like Howie said, you cook that turkey that's in the freezer. I got a turkey in the freezer. Thank you, Rebecca. And I said, no. And he goes, why? I said, we're boiling sap this weekend. I'm dehydrating cabbage. We're getting chicks. And he went, oh, okay. I said, and I'm not cooking a turkey dinner for just 2 people. So you can look forward to some videos coming because I might just parts up that turkey in a couple of weeks. Can it, like raw pack all the meat and can it, and then make turkey soup because I have celery, carrots, and lots of onions. So I would pressure cook the carcass and bits of meat, and then I would add celery, carrots, and onions to a jar, top it up with turkey and broth, can it. And then I've actually got soup starter, not just broth in a jar, right? Ginger ale and crackers. Still, Sherry, what's going on with your stomach? Absolutely. I'm going to a vendor sale on the 22nd of the month. I'm hoping to sell my jams and jellies there. I have over 150 packed up and ready to go. We'll see. If I had my 1,000-acre farm, might have to even be more than that. I would also have an on-farm store. Like, yes, we would have our fresh vegetable stand and everything, but it would be out in front of a store that will have dairy products and cheese and jams and jellies because I will have an industrial kitchen to do all that stuff. Hell, I might even do baking once in a while and put it out there. I proceeded 106 pound. Oh, you processed 106 pounds of tomatoes this year and now picking green tomatoes for green tomato pickles. So tired, back feels like a staircase, but 1 foot in front of the other. Absolutely, darling. That's right. You're in summer right now, aren't you? You're heading into fall because you're on the other side of the world and your seasons are reversed from us. So your spring actually starts in like September. And your fall starts in April, May, correct? Well, everybody has to have a dream. Dehydrated celery, do I need to blanch them first? Yeah, I would boil them, drop them in boiling water, put a lid on it, set the timer for 5 minutes. Then rinse, like strain and put out. Oh, I have an itch. Sorry, guys. This is the bear in me. Oh. Okay. Oh. All right, guys. I have to go. I want to go out and film the last bit of this sat boiling. And then we're going to come in and have dinner, and it's TV time for Papa and I tonight. Okay? So my dream is to move to the country with either a river or a lake on my property, huge garden and some animals. Well, I mean, yeah. But that's a lot of work for just a couple of people. I mean, you know, Steph and Scott are fairly young. They're in their early 40s, right? So, and they've got, you know, semi-adult children to help, right? We don't have anybody, right? So, today was fun. Well, thank you, Donna. Anyway, I'm going to, let's say a prayer because we want to close with a prayer. Now, listen, folks, I'm not trying to make people think religiously. I'm not trying to evangelize or recruit anybody. This is just our way of, we come here to lift each other up. And this is just our way of giving each other a blessing and sharing a blessing with the rest of the world. You don't have to be religious, okay? And if you are religious, you just connect to your faith and I'll connect to mine. And in between, we will meet heart to heart, hand to hand in God, in the light of God's love. Right? Everything else is superfluous, right? Superfluous, excuse me. I used to always say superfluous, and now I realize it's superfluous. All right. So if you don't want to stay, that's for the final blessing. That's, you know, the blessing of the day. That's fine. It's okay. There is no judgment. We have no right to judge anybody but ourselves. So for all those who care to, and for those leaving, take care. God bless, and we'll see you on Thursday. And for all those who care to, please help me close with some spiritual nourishment. All right? Let's take some deep breaths. Fill the lungs deep. Breathe in hope and exhale fear. Hey, God, creator and source of everything. How's it going? Thank you, God, for this beautiful day and for the joy and my, you know, in our visit with Steffi and Scott yesterday. Life feels like it's getting back to a more normal rhythm. And for that, I'm really, really grateful. God, we come here to lift each other up and to share information and just, you know, be a community. Quiet back there. But God, there's people out there in the world that don't have a community, don't have somebody to share their spiritual nourishment with, or don't have somebody to help them, you know, when they're in a bad way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? So God, we lift all of these people up to you so that the light of your love may shine down on them and part the waters of the darkness even for a little while so they can see a way forward. Us, God, we know, fill us with the light of your love so that we shine from within, that we can lead in love by example. And when our light shines, people see it somehow and they want to know where it came from. And thus the joy spreads. Thank you, God, for bringing us together this beautiful Easter Sunday. May we all once again step forward and rise into the sun. Amen. Again, like Seashell says, universal peace. Namaste. Shalom. Happy Passover. Peace be with you. Merry meet, merry part, blessed be. Walk in the shining light of God's love. Peace be with you. Whatever the case may be, know that all of our blessings come from a place of love, and thus we share them because that's what we were taught. Take care. God bless.